Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Tony Sports.
And welcome back to another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined tonight, like I usually am, by Dan O'Shea, Tony Casper, and Dan Beebe. Gentlemen, how are we all doing tonight?
Pretty good.
I'm fantastic, even though I had to work after being away.
Oh, man. Well,
First day back always sucks.
it does.
But I hold on to the fact that I'm during one of the closest to the pins, hit it 3 feet 5 inches from the hole.
Nice.
And I actually made the putt, which I didn't think I was going to do. I was like, watch me blow this.
Dan O'Shea, we haven't heard from you yet.
I am lovely.
That is good. That is good. I hear you've been having a hard time lately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, something about, some, game of some kind of high, tall chair or something like that you've been having problems with? No? Game of Thrones?
No.
Making a stupid joke? Sorry.
He's got some beef. I mean, his beef is justified. As a fan, I just think it's lazy writing.
I definitely have some beef with Game of Thrones right now.
It's lazy writing. That's what it is.
Is it like...
Absolutely lazy writing.
Okay, so your beef, is it like a Slim Jim? Is it like a beef patty? Or is it like a fancy steak dinner kind of beef?
It's like a slab. Like I just took a cow and just cut the shank off. Because it's big and it's bloody.
Not even cooked?
Yeah, see, now, mine is more of a steak, a regular steak. But it's like if I asked them for them to do it medium rare, and they went and did it well.
Okay. So it's not quite what Lady Gaga wears, kind of.
I mean, it's what I want, but it's not served to me the exact way I want it.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't even watch the show.
Well, when you've invested this much time, and part of me doesn't fault them, and I think Dan would agree with me too, is the fact that they're trying to write an ending to a series of books that were so well done, and it allowed the show to feed off of that there's no way that their writing can possibly compete with the author's writing. And they're trying to make up for his greatness, and they're just not hitting the mark. And they're missing on golden opportunities.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge contributing factor, so I do attempt to cut some slack for that, but then they just make, stupid decisions,
leaving a coffee cup in the...
Universe, I guess armies having scouts that, go ahead and look at what's in the field or in the sea ahead of them and come and report back. I guess that's not a thing, because these huge armies just get ambushed by huge armies constantly, which never fucking happens in real wartime.
You know what happens when you send scouts ahead, right? They cut the head off, strap them to the horse, and the horse is just galloping back to people with a headless body tied to it. That's real life.
That still tells you something. That's one man's sacrifice for the good of your entire army. So
listen, for this dude being the general that he is in the battles that he's already fought, you'd think he'd be fucking better at it by now. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
His tactics are seriously in question.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of questions, I have a question for you gentlemen. It's time for a vicious volley. Okay. I told you earlier on in Dan O'Shea, you were not happy that this week you want to study the Kentucky Derby. And then I said, it's going to be Kentucky Derby winners. I'm scrapping that.
You just sound
All right,
studied,
good.
so
I did not study.
rightfully so.
I assumed you wouldn't have studied Dan O'Shea. But just out of curiosity, can you name one Kentucky Derby winner?
American Pharaoh.
Sagittarius, or no, what's his name? The famous one.
Secretariat?
Secretariat. Yeah, that's what it was.
Dude, he comes Sagittarius.
I knew I was wrong.
Instead, we're going to do something that's a little bit more in our wheelhouse, okay? So, entering the 2019 to 2020 NFL season, every team has a head coach. And we're going to start with you, Tony. Name a head coach of the 32 teams entering the 2019 season.
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll is correct. Dan O'Shea.
I'll go with Gase.
Adam Gase is correct. Dan Beebe.
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick is correct. Tony Casper.
Gruden.
John Gruden, surprisingly, is correct. Dan O'Shea.
I'll go with Tomlin. Mike.
Tomlin is correct. Really quickly, Dan Beebe, you're going to get a second to think about this. Breaking news. Bills quarterback announces retirement. Derek Anderson has retired from the NFL.
Thank God.
Dan Beebe, we're going to pick back up with you.
Norv Turner.
Norv Turner is not a head coach in the NFL right now.
No?
No. So, Dan Beebe, you are out. Tony.
Oh.
He's not floating around somewhere still?
No, he's not.
Garrett.
I wish you were lying, but that is correct. Dan O'Shea.
I'll go with Sean McVay.
Sean McVay is correct. Shermer, correct. Dan O'Shea.
Harbaugh.
Which one?
Well, the only one that's a head coach.
John.
Okay.
The only one's a head coach.
That is correct. Well, if he had said Jim, he wouldn't get it.
Well, yeah.
It was honestly, that was a 50-50 guess for me. I was like, crap.
And really quickly, Tony, I'm going to pause you for a second. Every time I say Dan O'Shea, I feel like I'm saying Pinochet, which is really bad. He's a bad guy. Anyways, continue on. Tony.
Rivera.
Ron Rivera is correct. Dan O'Shea.
Oh, Ron. He was on my list. I'll go with who the Jets considered but didn't take, Cliff Kingsbury.
That is correct. Tony.
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, correct. Dan O'Shea.
Nady.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Nady.
Nagy is correct. Tony.
Shit.
Yes, I got one more. Yes.
Tony, 2 seconds.
I'm done.
Dan O'Shea wins. Who's the other one you have?
Andy Reid. I was like, I can't believe I just thought of him. Like, he's been in the NFL forever.
Andy Reid is correct. The ones that did not get said: Dan Quinn of the Atlanta Falcons, Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills, Zach Taylor of the Cincinnati Bengals, Freddie Kitchens of the Cleveland Browns, Vic Fangio of the Denver Broncos, Matt Patricia of the Detroit Lions, Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers, Bill O'Brien of the Houston Texans, Frank Reich of the Indianapolis Colts, Doug Marrone of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Anthony Lynn of the Los Angeles Chargers, and we got Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins, Mike Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings, Doug Peterson of the Philadelphia Eagles, Kyle Shanahan of the San Francisco 49ers, Bruce Arians of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans, and Jay Gruden of the Washington Redskins.
Who's the Dolphins head coach?
It was Brian Flores, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like thinking like in division, I was like, why can't I remember them?
Yeah, it's tough, and a lot of them changed this year. There's a lot of first-time head coaches coaching in the NFL right now. All right, so guys, that was fun. I do just want to set the expectations. Tonight, we're going to be talking about NHL playoffs. We're going to talk about NBA playoffs. Tony, you have a rant?
I do. And all of what we're talking about lost me money.
Oh.
Yeah, your stars are dead to me.
Jesus Christ. We're going to talk about them.
Dead to me.
God damn, they're dead to me too.
I did catch going to the second overtime. Right as it went into overtime, I was like, let it ride again. And then I picked them to win in the second overtime, and I fucking lost. I was walking down the boardwalk, and I looked at my phone, and I go, fucking figures.
And we're gonna dust off an old game, I guess we call it, our hashtag hot takes.
I thought you were going to say Ouija board.
That's not an old game, that's current.
It can be dusty, though.
No, it's not dusty when you play it every night.
Do you?
I mean, I'm not saying I play Ouija every night. All I'm saying is I have regular communication with demons.
Oh.
But whatever. Mostly Tony's demons. But
That's fair.
Anyways, let's talk NBA first, because I have to formulate what I'm going to say in my head.
I got a hot take.
We'll get to it. Save it.
All right.
So, NBA playoffs have gotten better than they were the first round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Significantly better.
Yes.
We had a quadruple overtime.
Yep.
Which was... And I think they heard us talking shit because it was right after we were like, NBA playoffs so boring.
We were messaging back and forth for like an hour, like, oh, this might be it. Oh, no, it's not. No, I think they're gonna be done. Oh, no, it's not. In the fourth, you were like, oh no, I think Toronto's got him. Like, nah, it's gonna go to a fifth overtime. I was hoping for 6.
I think I said if Denver didn't lock it down in the third, then Toronto was gonna take it in the fourth.
You did.
And I was right, because Toronto is at home. That home gives you a little bit extra energy when you have 0 left, you know? That's when the crowd can be especially effective. But yeah, that Nuggets-Blazers series has been fantastic, really fun to watch. And I think they're playing tonight, don't they?
The games tonight, let me check. I'm just so shocked by that Derek Anderson news. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, Nuggets Blazers are on tonight. They're the late game.
Raptors and Sixers.
But yeah, so I guess if we want to keep talking Nuggets Blazers, that's been my favorite series in the second round, I think.
I want to ask you a question, and we're gonna switch games first. We'll talk about the game that's gonna tip off in like 15 minutes, okay? I'm on ESPN.com, and the headline that is under the photo that gets you prepared for tonight's game says, "Why in the world does Joel Embiid fall down so much?"
Yeah.
And it's making me question, why does Joel Embiid fall down so much? I'll tell you why.
He's too big for his body. You know, he's not graceful.
Like an injury?
I think part of it is also monkey see, monkey do. You got Chris Paul and James Harden just like throwing themselves at people and falling down. And James Harden hits himself in the chin, makes it look like someone else hit him, and they call a foul. Like, so why not? What's the penalty? They're clearly not calling these fucking flops like they're supposed to. You remember that when they're like, we're gonna get tough on flopping?
That lasted.